Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're back for another round. I hope that everyone is enjoying this holiday season, whatever you choose to do. It is a wonderful time for reflection and also a wonderful time for preparation. So I couldn't imagine anyone better than this darling soul sister right here to sit down and have a conversation. We come from a very
Uh,
similar strain of this is the perfect and right time to get as much amount of like soul work done as possible while everyone's feasting and passing out from a food coma on the couch. We get right into the nitty gritty of the workspace. So, welcome, Mahara. Thank you so much for being here and everyone for joining this very, very juicy, ripe conversation. I think we'll have hidden gems tucked away for everyone. So, welcome, come in, get settled, join us for a cuppa.
yes, join us. Thank you for having me, dear Alicia, and everyone watching. It's always very fascinating to see what comes out of our conversations. I couldn't have thought of anyone who could frame this holiday period in that way better than you just did. Choose to be in a food coma or choose to speak startling truths.
Or do both. I mean,
Exactly.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's interesting when, like, for me personally, coming on this like really abrupt, crazy journey that's been, most of my life, but more intensely the last 10 years, Christmas and any sort of matrixy kind of like festive celebration is something I've really almost protested a bit about because I want to break away and create the new. And there was a post going around about Christmas Day is shift day. I'm like, that's the one I want to celebrate. Like, can we just get there? Um, but it's
Mm.
like really being that futuristic thinking and breaking away from old traditions that really have been sort of really co-opted in many ways of money making, you know, it's kind of taken the heart away from, family time and downtime and rest time. Um, and where I was going with that, I've just blanked. But anyway, oh, that's all. I noticed, and we were talking about this. There's been a real shift this year, and I think I speak for many is that Christmas can be a really hard time, especially when you're on this path. But like in general, there can be so much trauma associated around Christmas and festive season. And then you go through a wild, crazy awakening journey and then it compiles it all. But this was like, this has to be the most memorable, joyful I've had in like over a decade. And I've heard several people talk about that. So I feel like there is a new birthing of new traditions that we can start to work with. But anyway, that's not why we're here. That was just a long-winded intro. I'm actually
Yeah.
gonna. You have some exciting news because you are birthing a new, literally in the process of birthing a new creation, and you just told me one of the most moving stories. So, do you want to share what you've been up to and part of that journey that has sort of maybe caught you by surprise at the end of that creation?
Mm. Wow. Okay. So there is a theme that when I've come up to the point of birthing something new, and I call these golden creations because I think I've only, yeah, it's not something I've done my whole life. I've birthed other creations, but when I birth a golden creation, it's coming from another realm. So let's just frame it that way. So I have just put my book 13 Creators into print, self-published. It's been many years in the making. I started writing the book 7 years ago, and the creator types were birthed 9 years ago.
Mm.
So um, the reason this came up in our conversation just before was we were actually talking about trafficking and you know, the child in us, those of us who have these experiences, that will not be silenced.
Yeah. Sure.
And I've noticed that when I go to create, to birth a golden creation like this book, that I get hard up against a wall to face and speak about more stuff that happened to me as a child, more truths, more to bring more awareness and disclosure to this topic, because that child in me won't rest. She will not rest. And I was literally right down to the 11th hour, the night before I had to get this book to the publisher, sorry, to the printer before to get the books by Christmas. And I couldn't finish the book. I couldn't finish the manuscript, even though I'd written this manuscript long ago, but I could not complete it. So I was forced to write an epilogue at the end of the book, which was not the plan at all. And the epilogue was titled Everybody Tells a Story. And I wrote something and it just wasn't sitting. This was very, it's really, really challenging. Right at the end of the line where I'm almost dead on the deadline, going, my eyes are hanging out of my head and I can't finish this book. And what basically happened was this child, my child, from that experience, who's still very vivid, like she's still alive. She's still there. She's actually still there on site at that facility.
Yeah.
Almost in real time. That's how I connect with her. And she would not let me print this book without having a voice in it. And in that epilogue, I had to write about when there is a creation coming from the other side, so to speak, something that your soul is saying, yes, bring this into the world. It matters in matter. You cannot bring light through without bringing more darkness through as well, so that it's in balance. And I basically spoke about my memories, my suppressed memories and denied memories of what happened to me as a child, and the fact that I had to actually face that, speak that, go through more memories coming through in the final week of writing this book. Yeah. In order to actually complete it. So she made me write this epilogue and state that in the book, that you may, when you want to create something that of your desire, your highest desire or calling, you may be forced to go into something that you have denied for a long time. And I think a lot of people who are wanting to create the life that they desire can't, because they're sitting on something that in their psyche has literally put into lockdown and gone, I'm never, ever going to open that box again. And yet, if you want what's on the other side, if you want the gold on the other side, that's what unlocks it. So that's my little snippet of yet another example of having to go through this deeper layer of memories surfacing so that I could bring through a new creation. And I had to leave on that message going, this book is a product of that. I couldn't hit publish without it.
Oh my goodness, that just hits in such a deep, vulnerable, raw place. And I thank you for sharing that. That can't have been easy to move through and even maybe to speak about, because it's so fresh and new for you, especially to speak about so openly and publicly. So
Yeah.
thank you, and thank your
my little girl.
the little girl aspect. I can feel her, and I can feel there's so many words and language I want to share, and I can feel her strength that is coming through because of you and what you're doing now and how that impacts the quantum.
Yeah.
I can feel the pride of like maybe various aspects just kind of cheering you on for having the courage to face the dark and the depths and to push through and to birth this creation that will help shape and change lives too. So, wow.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for listening and for feeling that because
Mm,
um, it's definitely come as a surprise for me. You know, um, I was racking my brain for days going, what, or like, what am I missing? Like, why does
mm,
it feel complete?
mm,
Because she wasn't in it. So she's like the star of my story, you know? Um, and yeah, I mean, we could go down lots of paths with that, you know, in terms of
mm,
that aspect of us that remains on site, so to speak, until the mission is complete. And I felt that with her. She showed me that. She's like, normally, I actually had a session with someone, you know, to work through some of the traumas and stuff with the inner child and all of that. And he said to me at the end, he's like, okay, so, you know, can you bring her with you and, you know, close this out, so to speak, whatever. And she was not leaving. And he said to me, he's like, this is the first session I've ever done where the child will not leave. Like, she's not done. It's not resolved. And I'm like, oh, yeah, because she knows what the mission is and it's not done yet. So she showed me then that there was a lot more going on than my adult psyche could possibly comprehend as to why she would stay behind. And actually, he said to me, you know, what does she need before you leave her there? You know, you're going to keep this channel open of communication.
mm,
That's important. And I had to make that promise to her.
mm.
But also, he said, you know, do you want to send her light? Or, you know, does she need protection? Does she need, and she just went, no, no, don't send me light because as soon as you send me light, I'm detectable.
Yeah, you were
And
gonna
I'm
say
like, okay, she knows what to do more than I do, you know, like, so there's this incredible, yeah, like you say, strength, wisdom, courage, bravery, also brazenness
mm,
that she has that I feel like I'm trying to live up to, you know, through connecting with her. But she's got a plan, and I'm kind of her voice to fulfill that plan. Mm. Didn't expect to be talking about this today on, on our
it,
video,
it
but
wasn't on our list, but I
okay.
think it sets the perfect tone for what we are going to discuss.
Mm.
In many ways, you know, I think we had a little bit of a pre-chat a few days ago, knowing that we were getting prepared to come together and connect and share some recent experiences that we both had that kind of dovetailed together that felt really fitting for closing out this year and entering into the new and talking about addressing the body issues and the traumas and soul contracts and how do we really step into creator mode fully, you know, without. And I think you just painted the perfect um, real life experience. It's so near and dear and current for you right now, and the bravery to do that. And I think it's really important because we're all working so hard to embody, you know, our soul consciousness and to have the best life that we can
Mm.
in the ways that we perhaps foreseen or know in our heart. But it takes, there's a lot of unforeseens along the way. And what I've always been shown is to really embody that you have to refine yourself in ways that
Mm.
our human can't always comprehend. Uh,
Oh, for sure. Yep.
mm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
So, your book will be out very soon. Um, where can people access that once it does drop? Is there anything more you want to share about that? I mean, shameless plug right here. Let's just, why not?
Um, it's a very good question. It will be available for private sales. So what I mean by that is, you know, if people who contact me and connect with me, can buy the book. And next year, 2026, I will be doing a book trail, so to speak, to different locations and sharing the book with people like clients I've had over the years who have other people in their local area who want to know about the creator types. So it's very organic. It's very non-commercial marketing for a new book, and that's on purpose.
Yeah.
I know that there's certain people who are meant to receive a copy of this book. It's not for everyone, and those people will know if it's them. So yeah, so I'm just following the energy around that, but it will start to be released in
Love that.
January, mid-January, 2026. And then I'll be moving around from there. So anyone who wants to follow that book trail, can, yeah,
Follow you on
contact me.
Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow you on Instagram to kind of,
Follow me on Instagram or contact me, yeah, through my website.
yeah.
So yeah, I feel that, that this is something that was so stark to me this time releasing this book around contracts, because that's what initially sparked this video was, so as I'm pushing this new golden creation out, I was getting massively challenged. I got attacked 2 weeks before I finished the manuscript. I was also having more memories coming through from my child trafficking experience. Just unexpected things, It's like I'm already full capacity trying to finish this book, but all the interferences came into play. But major interferences. I haven't been attacked like that for 6 years. And so I was becoming very aware of, there's new kids on the block now, new beings are here. And that all came very starkly into my awareness. Yes, as well as contracts that needed to be resolved. So that was one thing that, yeah, it was a contract that I'd had since birth. And I only discovered this is for anyone out there who can relate to this. I've spent many years, many days feeling completely drained, like there's no life force in my body, unable to get out of bed, can't function, just dragging my body along by who knows what force, and not able to resolve it through anything physical, foods or sleep or whatever. Sleep wouldn't give me energy. And so I'd wake up feeling even more drained than I did the night before. And of course, there's all the physical stuff like, your cortisol levels and, trauma and stress and da-da-da. Hang on a second. There's got to be something else here. And this is what I've learned over the years, because in my experience, time and time again, when I would have an extreme energy drain like that, there was an implant in my body. And as soon as I pulled the implant, instantly my energy would return. So it's made me really wonder how many people are out there doing all these seeing health practitioners and, taking all these supplements and God knows what else, I've tried lots of things myself thinking it was physical too, because that's what we're told. We're not told, you've got an implant. So yeah, I 100% really stand by this now, because I haven't had enough experience with myself and with other people who've had instant healing and effects from having an implant taken out. And I'm talking etheric implants.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
In my case.
Yeah.
Yes. Etheric implants, they're not physical. I'm not taking a physical device out, but they look exactly like a physical device. And I could draw them, sketch them, exactly where they're connected in the body, what effect they're having on the system, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that came up through this process, and it made me go, oh, wow. So when you really stretch yourself creatively and go to another level of creation, you get a huge clean out, so to speak, which can be extremely unpleasant as well. So I came across this implant only because I couldn't get out of bed once again. And I'd had a session the day before, a bodywork session, where the practitioner said to me, she's like, your kidneys. She's like, oh my God, your kidneys need so much help. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was already aware of that, because I'd been doing a deeper process with my own body blueprint in the last few weeks. And she said to me, she's like, you need to, use moxa, which is the heat, on your directly on your kidneys. And after that session, I felt like my life force came back into my body, and I went, oh my God, it's my kidneys.
Mm.
Anyway, the next morning, I'm still drained, terrible, couldn't get out of bed, same thing. And I'm like, I just had this session and she revived me, and now I'm back to square
Yeah.
one. And I was like, what? Because, of course, we know lots of drains, implants are happening through the dream time.
Mm.
That's another story. But essentially, I looked at my kidney the next morning. My left kidney had this pipe, or this, it looked like a pipe, like
Mm.
a flexible pipe connected to it. And it was actually locked into place, literally like the Matrix pods. Very
Mhm.
similar, surprise. And anyway, I went, oh my God, I've never seen that there before. So it's almost like I needed the contrast. I'm sharing this for people out there who might be struggling with this because, my God, I wish someone told me. Um, so the contrast of her putting energy back into my kidneys and then it having drained out again, I could see it. I was like,
It was so
hallelujah.
clear.
Yeah, you know the drill, right? So then I started to disengage this pipe and pull it out. And it looked like it actually had exactly like the Matrix pods, like this metal connector in my kidney and then a metal mouth on the pipe that connected in. But what was interesting was I went, what is this? And it was from birth. It was there from
Cool.
birth. And I'd always felt on some level in my life like a surrogate. Like, and what I mean by that was I was surrogating energy for someone else or something else, but I could never connect it. We hear about surrogates, like when a child is born to literally give a kidney or to give a bone marrow transplant to their sibling. And they definitely feel like a surrogate, like I was born for this purpose to give energy to something else.
Yeah.
I'd always had that feeling my whole life and I couldn't explain it
Hmm.
because it wasn't an organ transplant. That wasn't my story. But this pipe into my kidney was the source of that feeling. When I pulled it out, I saw down my father's line, as far as I could see, generations and generations back, that there'd been a contract in place.
Mhm.
My dad's entire line was military. So all of his uncles, his grandfather's fathers, everything military. And so I actually saw that this contract had been in place and it ended with me. I pulled it out and instant my energy was back. I was like, oh, just like that. That it had been there for 44 years and I'd never been able to detect it before. And sometimes you have this moment, where you're like, could someone have given me a hint before? Like perhaps, like how on earth does it take this long to figure this stuff out when I knew there was something off, you know?
Mm.
So
Mm. Mhm.
anyway, I just wanted to share that. And you wanted me to share that because it's
Uh,
a
uh,
theme.
it is a thing, and I'm going to elaborate. So thank you. And I'm like sitting here bopping away, going, yeah. My whole theory around the work that I do, and well, you do to some extent too, and many practitioners out there, is it sits in the energetic field first. Whether it's in the emotional body, the mental body, whether it's an implant, whether it's a trauma, it's created energetically before it manifests physically, period. If you're able to remove the energetic, what enter in whatever,
Mm,
and I think implants really are, and I'm talk as you mentioned, I'm glad you highlighted that the non-physical implant.
mm,
I tell everyone 98% of implants that are removed or people have are non-physical.
mhm.
It's much more uncommon to see the physical ones, although people do, like myself, do have them.
Yeah.
But technology has become a lot more sophisticated in the last couple of decades than what it was. Um, and if you're removing the energetic cause, however that appears, once that's done, whatever else you're doing in the physical, whether it's exercise or supplements or is going to work that much more efficient, that more long lasting, effective, like boom.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to do it hand in hand, but sometimes it literally is a matter of just like
Mm, mm,
a profound story.
mm.
And how many people, like I can't even count how many people I work with, you've worked with, or known, friends, acquaintances that have removed something and it has changed their whole life in really profound ways. It can be that simple.
Yep.
But why does it take that long? Is that part of like a soul contract thing? Like, is there a timing to it? Like, is there, or do we just get to a certain point of evolution where we see what we couldn't see? Like,
Okay. So this is a very great question.
hmm.
And not one I have the answer to, but I've definitely postulated on this and gone, okay, so when I pulled this particular pipe out, I was like, I think this contract was null and void some time ago. And yet that implant was still there. And I was pissed. I'm just like, so how many other implants do I have where the contract's over, but the implant's still there because I didn't see it and pull it out? Excuse me? And you can't just do a blanket thing like, I now dissolve all implants in my body
No,
and all
you
contracts.
can't.
That doesn't work.
Doesn't
So
work.
it's like, so I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. So the experience that I had, for those who may or may not have seen, I talked about in one of my updates months ago, when I had that experience that the Greys took me and showed me this technology and the implants that they've been using, especially in the last 10-year span. Beyond that, but we're hyper fixating on highly evolved beings, keeping them in a lower frequency bandwidth or keeping them looping for the last 10 years to kind of halt the progress for humanity's you know, evolution. And literally what they said to me was, because when I said, why are you showing me? I was overwhelmed with all the data extraction that they were getting
Mm.
from, I couldn't even tell you how many people. It never even dawned on me that there would be an infrastructure that was collecting data based on implants. Like it was, yeah. And I said, why are you showing me this? And they said, because we've just been the middleman for your Earth governments to do this contract. We have the technology. We, had it. We
Yeah.
basically provided a service,
Mm-hmm.
and we're showing you this because the contracts are expiring on these as a overall blanket for all that have been impacted by this specific program or programs. And they gave me a date of last September, like a very specific date. And I said, so what happens then? Does it just deactivate? And they said no. They said it still has to be removed from the body. It's not just they said over time it will dissolve and disintegrate, but this could take years or decades.
Mm.
You actually have to
Mm.
and they told me specifically, we're showing you this because this is what your quantum merging session are designed to like work on with people. Like this, the modality that I work with is
Yeah.
very specific to
Yeah.
this type of thing. It's my life's work, I believe, or part of.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, hmm. So how do we get like this is me. So, okay, so let's say hypothetically there's hundreds of thousands, if not million people that have been impacted by these things. They've come to an expiration date. So the impacts are minimal, but they're still in operation to some extent. It's impacting people probably mentally and health wise, physically, and all sorts of whatevers.
Mm.
Like, how do we resolve? Like, we can't just. I mean, we're talking about it now, but like, can't just place an ad on mainstream TV and say,
Well, I think it's a huge thing, and I love your quantum merging sessions, and we can talk about the sessions we did on each other too. But I love it because it empowers the person to see into their own body and what's going on.
yeah,
You're not just doing a healing and taking it out for them. They're actually doing the work, but you're holding the space and bringing attention to different parts of them, maybe in the blind spots, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel the power of that is it, part of the answer lies in that. You know, we have to upgrade now and have our sights activated so that we can see these things. But there's also like an educational process that goes with it. And like I said to someone the other day, I was like, I feel like I've become a specialist in implant removal. I have removed so many now. It's kind of like you're the expert in entities and all these other things, right? Like you have your specialty sets. I'm like, oh my God, hundreds and hundreds from myself and others, but mostly myself. And the tapestry of types of implants and how they require different handling to remove them. And I'm like, this is very, you
It's
know, it's a science,
yeah.
it's a specialty area, you know. It's kind of, I describe it as like deactivating a bomb. You don't want to cut the wrong wire. And every bomb requires an assessment to make sure that you're deactivating it in the right way. You know, and we should talk about what some of the stuff that came up now, quantum merging and how like you know, as an example, just recently, I woke up in the middle of the night with extreme pain in my uterus, like extreme. And I was just going, oh my God, what has happened here? And I saw this, I would call it a cross between an octopus and a stingray. And it was an electric, so it was definitely inorganic and organic combined. Anyway, what was fascinating was when I pulled it out, and I'm just using that as a loose term because it's not that straightforward.
Yeah.
But when I got it out, it replicated, and all of a sudden there was like 100 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "What? What do I do now?" So I had to think on the fly and go, "Okay, well, what's going to remove like 100 at a time?" So I ended up using a net to get them all out.
Yeah.
And so it was, so just things like that, you know, little hacks are very useful to know, but often you'll be confronted with something that, well, I don't know what to do here. So you have to make
Well,
something up.
that's where the creative process is so important, and like feeling into your own intuition, and also having a support network, whether that's a friend or a practitioner,
Mm.
because as technology evolves, we have to evolve, right? And it reminds me of that day when you called me. I don't know if you want to share that, but when you woke up, because there's a lot of shit that's been,
Oh, the target?
yeah, turned up
Oh, yeah, we should
astrally.
talk about that.
Because, and I think that's an important point, that there's so much commotion happening in the field and the energetics and the dream space, that
Mm.
being really conscientious of energetic hygiene before going to sleep and upon waking can is crucial when we're going through big shifts, whether
Yeah.
personally or collectively or both, because when we're traveling, we're going into different pockets and spaces, and we can pull through a lot of bleed through. But I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's a good one because I've actually thought about that too. And your hack, I would never have thought of your hack because I was so in the fear of it at the time. But this is after I'd been attacked by these AI beings the week before. So it was a follow on from that. That already infiltrated my system, and I was dealing with that. But I woke up one morning and I literally saw a red bullseye, a target on my back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never seen anything like that, never heard anything like that. And I was walking around the house going, oh my God, I'm not safe anywhere. They can see me. Like they've got a bullseye on my back. And I was just in fear. And I was messaged Alisha, and she called me and basically said, this is a synthetic overlay. I've seen this before. Take it off and burn it. And I did, and it was gone.
Yeah.
Like so it's fake in the sense that it's just an overlay, but it's real in the sense that, yeah, they put that on me to create this response.
Correct.
Yeah, so do you want to say more? I mean,
Yeah, I
that was
do want
big
to
to me.
elaborate on that, because I came across a concept, I think it was David Icke years ago, and it just kind of clicked in my head and made sense, that nothing can physically harm you in the physical unless you have an energetic target on you in the astral or in the energetic.
Ah, yeah, right.
And so when it comes to energy, like the whole thing about this is really being able to bolster our energetic field to be as strong as possible, to be in our power, and like any sort of attack allows us, gives us the opportunity essentially to reclaim our power. But it's not easy. I'm not going to make light of it. When you're in those states, it's the fear is real. The fear is terrifying. Um, and that's where you do need good support network. But it dawned on me that they can put these synthetic, like if they really want to put someone, so like let's say that happened, it was a synthetic overlay. You had someone to bounce. I was like, oh, it's just deal with it, blah blah blah. But if you didn't have that or the knowledge,
Mm,
right,
mm.
then make that your reality because you're in that frequency of fear.
I'm a target. Yep.
Therefore, you've accepted it or given it
Mm.
permission. You've given it consent essentially, and potentially something harmful could have happened. It may not have been catastrophic, taking you out, but it could have been an accident. That's how psychic attack
Yeah.
works. We give consent to something else that someone else has put upon us, and then we fall over, we bump
Mm,
it up. I've had it happen to me many times.
mm,
I'd like to talk about, but that's how we,
mm.
kind of, yeah, we got to learn and evolve with it to be like almost one step ahead. And that's why I always say, if you have a practice and a protocol of
Mm,
your own energetic clearing, you've got
mm,
to change it up. It's like
mm,
having a passcode
mm.
on a sacred locker. Like, eventually people are
Yeah.
going to clue on to what your passcode is. You got to
Yeah.
keep it fresh.
That's it.
Essentially.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, I like that you say that. It's like people talk about energetic protocol. Protection is a dirty word or whatever, but it's actually, well, how are you strengthening your field? Let's say,
Yeah,
but if you're doing the same thing all the time, they hack it, right? It's like
absolutely. Yeah.
send it forward. Let's go. So, but I think what it also brought into my awareness was when I did get attacked. Um, I had to call in reinforcements and I had to go, who am I going to call?
Yeah.
Well, there was you, and then there were several other people, not many, maybe two or three, if that.
Mm.
It was like, oh shit, who's going to be able to get what I'm saying? And one of my close friends who is a seer as well. She said, I saw you in the field before this attack happened, and there was this storm around you, and I didn't know what it was. She said it was like you had a target on you. It wasn't a bullseye target. It was they had something was already happening before the physical event happened. And so from that event I was like, oh, okay, this is a collective effort.
Mm.
There is no doubt about this, and so we're never going to be across everything. Even those of us who have expertise or that's our work or whatever, you're never going to be across everything. So who is in your realm, who is in your call on people that can say exactly what you did for me that day, which totally saved me.
Mm.
I'd already spoken to one other person before I spoke to you, but they didn't have the answer. So it's kind of like you've got to have your speed dial list ready to go. Not that it has to be a dramatic, extreme event like this. I'm just using that as a sign of the times we're entering where it is collective knowledge that is going to get us through. And we've talked about, well, how are we creating an army on the ground? And I use army as in not armed weapons. It's actually, are your arms working? Are they connected to your body? Are they energized by your heart frequency? Because that's what arms are. They're the
Oh.
extension of the heart.
Mm.
So your army is you, right? You already have arms, but then are you going to join arms with others or are you going to stand alone? And what does that look like? And it can look like many things, but it really, whoa, it brought that into focus, how much I needed to fill out my life in a new way with this intention.
Yeah, it's really strength in numbers, isn't it? And having
Yeah.
the right like setting the intention for the right people to be in your orbit, in your friendship circle, in your professional circle, or having access to useful tools
Yep.
information, online resources.
And yeah, and reference points matter, like the book you're writing. And, if I read a book on implants too, it's like, well, all of a sudden people would have a reference point. Oh, yeah, I read about that. I know what to
Yeah.
do. It's empowering. So, yeah.
Just like just when I worked in mental health years ago, they sent me on a 3-day training, which was mental health first aid. I'm like, I think we need to do a first aid for etheric implants attachments.
Yes.
Oh my God, maybe once I release the book, I might actually
Yes.
do that as a.
Oh, I can totally see you doing that.
Oh, it's so
Oh
Ellie.
my God. You just gave yourself another thing to do, Alisha.
I did, but you know what? That lights me up because I sat through those 3 grueling days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I walked away really traumatized, and I was like energetically, internally projecting that everyone in my life was gonna like unalive themselves because it was all around like prevention of that and like very dark, heavy topics of how to. I mean, I was working in a very highly
Mm.
specialized field where we would have to deal with situations like that.
Whoa.
Um, but I just sat there, just like there, I could feel like there was my human being traumatized and going, oh, like all the dense information. But then there was my higher self going, do you see what a diagnosis of schizophrenia actually is? Can you see the entity attachments that are happening? Can you see why? And my higher self was literally funneling me all the spiritual perspectives of every mental health diagnosis.
Oh my God.
And I came away. It wasn't that long after I kind of exited that job and kind of made this my full time because I was like, I can only help like so much in those institutions. Like
Mm.
I mean,
Energetic first aid. Here's your woman. Yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
been doing entity clearing decades now. Not that I like to advertise it, but it's anyway.
Yeah.
But I want to come back to. Oh my God, I've just literally through this. Every time I talk to you, I get like 100 downloads of, you're dangerous. There's not enough of me to
Yeah,
please.
I hear you.
We need to build teams. And I think that's what
Yeah.
we're working and building toward. I think that's part of
Yes.
the conversation. But I want to go back to what you were talking about in terms of these military contracts. I just wanted to kind of loop back in a little bit because I do want to share something. I've worked a lot with military, like people who come from military backgrounds,
Hmm.
military families that have had or um, sensitive topics. I know, but without disclosing any specifics. But I've seen the pattern of family contracts through military families, and often as hypothetical scenario, let's say sometimes if there is like multi-generation of being in the military, so there's like you were saying, your father, your grandfather, it kind of goes back
Hmm.
multi-generations. I've seen these contracts play out that once they're in working in the military, they get compartmentalized sometimes into different projects, programs, that we could sort of blanket umbrella SSP or covert operation type specialized programs. And once they get in there, whether this is on a soul level or on a human level, or sometimes a bit of both, they are actually contracted. Once they're in, they're in. There are all these contracts that are agreed upon that they don't really, they're quite coerced in signing, whether that's on an etheric
Mm.
or physical or both. I think it's both many or more times. And that often they are like given, they have to give up their children into these programs and like contractually for various reasons and
Yep.
programs. That's how,
Yep. That we become owned.
yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
100.
I have seen that. And I've seen wild scenarios where like there were like 2 siblings in a family and they didn't want to give up one. So they actually went and had another child, just like you were saying, like a surrogate child, a child that's born for a surrogate kidney, let's say.
Mm.
that's gone and had a child, perhaps even out of the marriage, just to supply another child to these contracts,
Mm.
to go into these
Yep.
programs.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm sure that a lot of these families, except for the ones that are here to break it, have very little knowledge of what's actually going on. Like it's, and I've seen this pattern. It's not just a one-off. So when you came to me and told me, I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Like it
Mm.
kind of needs to be spoken about. It's
Mm.
because I do believe, and I think the good news is, I do believe that these contracts are wrapping up and coming to a close. We are in the linear unraveling of that. Um, but it's the same as those implants. We have to, yeah. Did you hear that? Yeah.
Confirmation.
Um, but it's not like, oh, okay, my contract will be up next year and I can just rest on my laurels. Like we actually have to like work with the processes, and unfortunately it may mean opening Pandora's box and making life changes and choices and
Mm.
pushing us into uncomfortable territory to
Mm.
get to our optimum, to live the life that we're to fulfill what we're here to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And to use an example, like a similar, it, I don't know, I see it the same as when people have cosmetic surgery, like they have a major cosmetic change and they come out of it, their body's different, but they're still operating by the old template. They didn't do anything to do an upgrade on any other level. They just did a physical one, and the rest of the bodies, the energy body, is just
mm,
is still functioning by that old contract, so to speak.
yeah.
And so you see these kind of conflicts between people's physical body and their energy body all the time, as you would, you know what I mean, right? And so unless you harmonize the two, then you're not actually living in the present. You're literally stuck in that old contract in the past until you see it, until you go, oh, I'm going to integrate that into now.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So that's a perfect analogy. Thank you for bringing that in.
Mm.
Yeah.
So should we talk about our oh sorry, do you want to do more military stuff or do you want to
No,
talk
there
about
was
our
one other
quantum?
thing I wanted to just. No, it's gone now. I feel
Might
like
come back.
yeah, there's other stuff I want to. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Um, I'm looking at my notes. Sorry, I realized
I'm hearing the word spiders. Do we need to talk about spiders?
Oh my God. Yes. Oh, okay, yeah. Yep. Yeah, yeah. Now there was something that you said, but look, if it's important, it'll come back. It'll come back. We can go into spiders, but I also want to talk about because when you told me about this whole kidney thing, I told you an experience that I'm in the process of currently going through, which I think is groundbreaking level. Oh, that okay, it's come back. So we talked about all the targeting experiences and attacks and what you went through, but can we just like if it's not already really obvious for people, like why was that happening? Can we just spell that out in case people weren't sort of picking up?
The attack or
Yeah. Why did it? Yeah.
um I think it's complex. Well, it's multifaceted. And I'm not saying I have the whole answer yet.
Mm,
But yes, there was a contract in place.
mm,
I don't believe that contract was directly with the beings that attacked me, but indirectly, yes.
mm,
As in, it's a hierarchy out there and they've got minions working for them.
mm,
So there was that, the contract, there was the fact that I was evolving to a new level with a new golden creation, right? Which always you're going through a filtration process, a purification of like, well, you can't take this contract into that new thing. So, so that contract literally had to be flicked.
yeah.
But I still feel like, yeah, there's more to that attack than I think we can go into in this interview, but maybe at a later date. But yeah, it's certainly showed me a lot. It's shown me that there are new beings here in the ascension process, whatever you want to call it, the evolution of humanity. Of course, there are new, more sophisticated beings who are now here, and we need to upgrade to be able to see them, know what to do with them, have an awareness so we're not in the dark.
Yeah.
And we're not again, it's an upgrade into the present of, oh, we're not functioning as though we have to deal with reptilians all the time now. You know, like it's new energies, new beings, new kids on the block, like I say.
Yeah. Thank you. I think the main point I wanted to highlight was like, yeah, birthing a creation or doing something really important that will create a ripple
Mm.
field for a positive
Mm.
effect for humanity will attract attention. And that's where we
Oh
have,
yeah.
yeah, be,
Yeah, they definitely tried to stop me. There's
yeah,
no doubt. Like that. Thank you. Yeah. They were trying to stop me from sabotaging me from doing this because it's going to have a very big impact and foil their plans, so to speak.
yeah.
Um,
But yeah, it's
yeah.
just, yeah, timeline wars essentially. It's like yeah.
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 100%. Yep.
All right. Well, um, I think before we go into the spider stuff, I want to talk a little bit. I'll just because you had that experience now, I had an experience similar around the similar time or in the last week. I don't know, time. Sometime in December.
Sometime. Yep.
um, and I knew that I was coming up with a new offering for just a limited time. So what I'm calling what is it, 2026 activation alignment session, which is working very much in the quantum field,
Mm-hmm.
right? And before I birth any creation, of course, I go through my own process and I go through, all these sorts of things. Now, I've done videos and I've been talking a little bit about matrix pods and I've been talking a little bit about
Mm-hmm.
these concepts of implants and cords and how we're plugged into mainframes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the bath and this has been happening like pretty consistently now. Every time it's a focal point for me in prepping me in my own process. And I could feel where these cords and plugs were very sort of matrix like. I'd say there's about five and there's probably more. It's a process.
Yep.
It's often not one and done, but when you know how to do it, you keep working with it. I was not prepared for this. So I was in the bath and I literally was told and shown these this is what you need to be focused on now. And I was like, okay. And I was shown these specific chords are what they're calling money matrix for like money matrix chords. And I was like, okay, what is that? Or, probably better terminology around it, but that's just my definition of it right now. And it said it siphons creative life force value from people. And I was like, what do you mean? And it was like, well, think about all the time you've gone to birth a creation. You've got
Mm.
all the energy and the insight and the download and the codes, and you've got all this ripe energy and all this momentum forward, and all of a sudden the bum falls out of it, like
Mm.
literally. And I was like, yeah, oh my God, like that's happened to me more times than I can count on, fingers.
Mm. Mm.
And it said, yeah, because you as a human, as a very unique human with very unique specific frequency, as we all have the ability to create the frequency and then to bring it into the material matter. But because you're hooked up to these with these cords, this is a blind spot for me. Because you're hooked up to these cords, literally as you're on the precipice of bringing into creation, the energy that you've cultivated within you to create or birth that is being literally sucked
Um,
out of you.
mm.
And I just kind of went, like, it was a jaw
Mm.
drop moment for me. I was like, oh my God. And it said, you
Mm.
and many are being prepared to step into realities
Mm.
of 2026 and beyond to really bring these creations into the physical. That's why it's such a hyper focus point is
Yeah.
if you're really serious about bringing your business, your project, your book, your art, your invention, your creation, all of that, like
Yep.
these need to be addressed, whether that's coming and seeing me or working with someone, like doing it in your own, like this awareness needs to be out there. And I'm still like
Mm,
unpacking it, but I was just like,
mm,
it was a jaw dropping moment for me.
mm.
And so now I've been given and shown how to dismantle it and work with it. But it was like, in my mind, I was like, if I had worked that out 10 years ago, it would have created, like, I would have avoided so much heartbreak and heartache.
Mm.
But then it was like, well, I've grown a lot. So it's like, it's
Yeah.
that thing of like, sometimes there are timing and orchestrations. And I think the exciting thing for me was to uncover that, to work with it, but to know that we are at a precipice of where we are going to really, so many of us are on the precipice of like moving into what we know we've been moving into all along. That, yeah. So,
Yep. Yep. And it highlights to me that to bring groundbreaking creations through now, we need reinforcements.
yeah.
We actually do. So yeah, to have something, and I would do that next time. I've finally got the message. It's like, okay, so if you don't want to be dead on the deadline, when you're at that, when you know that something is going to be birthed, bring in your reinforcement. So, I would work with someone like you and just make sure someone had my back energetically while it's the same as giving birth to a real baby. It's like, well, you can do it on your own the hard way, or you can have,
The team,
other support people who are like literally, part of that delivery.
yeah.
And I got it now. That's
Yeah.
what I do next time.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I completely agree with you. The other thing I want to share before we go into the finale of like amazing spider conversation we're gonna have,
yeah,
and allow people to opt out at that point if they
yeah.
have arachnophobia.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it is like it's useful information. We're not gonna go into too much scary. Is well, I've spoken about the spider bite that I've endured this year that's created my body to be a complete mess.
Mm.
And now in the healing and rehabilitation, and I was pondering today of like, well, the silver lining is that it's literally getting me into my most physical optimum body I could possibly have. And if I
Mm.
hadn't have had this experience, would I have done it on my own back? No, probably not. Like
Mm.
I
Mm.
kind of needed an extreme wake up. But speaking to the energetic impact or the emotional impact is this just happened in the last 24 hours. I had a friend staying with me and we were having a deep and meaningful conversation about the absolute horrendous 18 months, 2 years that I've had, and just the level of grief and the level of, heartbreak and loss and all the things that I don't openly share about, I don't talk about. And it was a short conversation, but it brought up this rawness within me of honoring that version of myself, even though it's not my childhood self. It's honoring that version of me that, oh, here I go. Ooh. That has messed up, my lymphatic system, like that has brought me to this place of,
Uh,
because my friend said to me, I think you just took such a beating and you just switched
mm.
off that your whole body just took a hit and now you're in the
Mm.
process of reversing, which is true. And I have been working my ass off on every, supplements, exercise, movement, sugar, like you name it. I have been doing it in, my
Mm.
everything. And I've been making huge progress. But you know what? That conversation that went for about 20 minutes and I had a cry and I honored that version of me. And I think probably for the first time, verbally acknowledged what a horrific time I have lived through in the last 18 months.
Mm.
And to have someone witness that, it was like game changer for me. It was like
Mm.
I was speaking to those really raw and vulnerable parts saying, it's okay. Like,
Mm.
and do you know what happened? Literally, almost like magic. I spent, sorry, very quick. I spent all night up going to the bathroom. It was like the fluid, the grief, the emotion, the stagnant water that I've been holding on to that hasn't been able to
Mm,
release it completely just poured out of me in the
mm.
last 24 hours, and my body feels so much lighter and free. I was like, oh my God, the thousands of dollars I've spent. I mean, which has been effective, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I just needed a support person, a good cry, and to honor and acknowledge
Yeah.
that it's been hard. And I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but
Mm.
that is powerful in what it can do when you speak to your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and acknowledge, like we opened up, you were talking about your child self, and just acknowledge, because we are quantum beings, we're multidimensional beings. So if there's a part of us that's still holding on, or still, like, that's the part that wants to reintegrate. And if our body's hurting or we have physical ailments, that is that's the direct line that is giving us the information, essentially, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, and it's trusting the body's intelligence too.
yeah.
I think that's the thing that I've had to really get. It's like, oh, my body will actually repair itself and find its own way if I get on board with it. So
uh,
um, yeah, it's a huge thing. It really is.
it
Yeah.
oh my God, it's, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm still kind of in my own, like, shock process of, like, did that just happen in the last 24 hours? Because
Mm.
that felt effortless, but it moves so much stuff.
Mm. Yeah.
And I think that's where we're coming to, like, closing out this cycle and which our body, our energy feels, trying to create space for what's to come.
Mm.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for
Yeah.
putting that out. I just know that so many people, clients and others, like, the lymphatic system and the processing of grief's a very
Mm.
collective
Yep.
storyline narrative at the moment. People, like, who've never had issues on that, and I think we're doing a big purge collectively through our own individual storylines. So I hope that's helpful for someone. But
Mm.
on to other topics.
Yeah, I almost am feeling I'm like, I think the spider topic warrants a separate video. Do you
I
reckon?
know, right?
Because I think it's going to open up heaps of stuff when we go into, yeah, the temple
Yeah,
timeline as well. What do
yeah.
you feel?
I think we could maybe just touch on it, and then
Uh,
we'll
yeah,
segue for a part two of this video.
yeah. So if you're out there listening and you love the spider stories, raise your hand, put in the comments. Yeah, do you want to start?
And also, if you're like me and you've been trying to overcome your arachnophobia for decades,
um, yeah. Do you want to do the synopsis or the sum?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess you came and stayed with me a couple of months ago, and we felt it, because it was funny. This speaks to the body stuff. Everyone who is close to me, and even clients appearing, are having the same body issues that I'm having. So I know that this is far greater than us, and there's a
Hmm.
collective story that wants to be told. But what baffled me was you rocked up with I've been having whole right side body issues. You rock up at my house and you're like, oh, my left side of my body. And it was like we were mirror.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think we need to do some quantum merging sessions on each
Mm.
other, because I've been waiting for someone to come and hold space for me that could just, I've been doing it on myself, but it's different
Mm.
when you've got someone just to hold the space. Um, and so we were trying to get to more information about what our body wanted to communicate. We wanted to get to more information about a theme that had been very prevalent, unbeknownst to both of us, in the week
Mm.
leading up to us connecting, that was around separation of counterparts, frequency matches, and temple, you know, times, Egypt, lifetimes potentially. and the split of that and how we're kind of completing that cycle. Essentially, that's just sort of the overview.
Yeah.
So we did a quantum merging session. You went first, and it was quite incredible how your session and my session were like a continuation
Mm,
of the same
yeah.
and information that came through, and it was very much around the spider beings and how they. I'm trying to go back into specifics, but it was what is kind of showing up in the body and how we're
Yeah.
doing that and resolving that in the
Yeah.
separation of the end of days scenarios as a part of it, the separation between frequency, counterpart, people, and the beings that have played a role in that, and why then and why now are they showing up. um
That's kind of a teaser, Alisha.
it's a teaser,
A
isn't
little teaser. If anyone knows what we might be referring to or feels similar, yeah, I do feel that the left right side of the body thing is a theme at the moment, which relates to the counterparts, but it also relates to, well, certainly for me, it was about can I stand in the whole truth of what I witnessed, what I experienced, what is happening currently
it?
in this time now? That's a lot to stand in. And that was part of why I had pain on my left side. I couldn't stand it. I was trying to exit
Mm.
or, stand
Yeah,
off
you were
side.
like,
Yeah, like I was like, I can't stand in this. I can't face the truth of what is happening. Um, and so I feel like this is going to be an ongoing theme for people as we start to see all sorts of crazy shit rolling out and, just things that are unprecedented, in our living memory. And we're going to have to be able to take it in. I certainly know for myself, especially in the last week or so, I feel like my heart is having to expand to accommodate more truth, more, more, more. And I know this has been going on for a long time, but it's like my heart's just going, stretch, trying to stretch into like more capacity for life force, for creation energy. I don't just want to say love because
no,
it's
it's beyond
not
that.
just that. It's
Yeah,
not like it's almost like my physical heart is having to get bigger
yeah.
to accommodate more truth. And it's not good or bad. It's not about that. It's just
Mm,
what is happening
mm,
right now in humanity. Because amazing opportunities, amazing creations are happening, and also very dire things are happening.
yeah.
And it's like, how do I hold this polarity?
Mm.
Like, I need to grow my heart, my physical heart to hold it. So yeah, it was all related to that, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
a
it really
snippet,
comes
snippet.
back to the individual unity and what we're being
Mm.
asked to release on a cellular soul DNA level, so that
Yeah.
we can move beyond these times and into what's coming ahead. And I agree with you. I noticed the heart for me too has felt raw and tender, and I've had to attend to it almost every day because there
Mm.
is such a big expansion that's on the way, and that is always a beautiful thing, but it's always quite painful and can be physically painful in the process of that.
Mm.
And I see that as like that's an entry point for the soul. So if
Mm.
that's happening, more embodiment is also taking place, or it can be. So yeah, I think that's probably wow. Thank you.
Mm.
This is definitely primed for another conversation.
Mm.
Um, hmm.
I'd love to hear from people listening what your questions are. Like what do you want to open up from this conversation? We've covered a lot of terrain today.
We really have, and it's just been kind of effortless.
Mm.
So it's obviously
Mm.
timely and probably hitting the mark with many who who are drawn to watching this. So thank you if you've come on the entire journey with us.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Feel free to connect with us. Obviously, all the details are in the description box. And we'll definitely be back with we'll be back with a bang in 2026. So,
Sure will.
so thank you, everyone. Wishing you all beautiful blessings as we close out what feels like a mammoth cycle, and being on the tip of the that's Parky. He just wants to get his 2 cents in as we're on the precipice of closing out. As my last post said, endings, beginnings, beginning, endings.
Yeah. So true. Thank you for having me. Thanks for watching.
Mwah.
See you next time.
And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.